The next 2 chapters are boring as all hell. Let's get right to the Flash. Be careful what you wish for. It was the greatest Christmas present I would have ever received. Barry Allen, my uncle, and my idol, slain Bal years ago, showed up, hale and hearty on my doorstep. As these thoughts raked through Wally West's mind, seconds are going by. But as he thinks, Reverse Flash, Thawne, an old enemy, is preparing a punch. He seemed as mystified as I was by his mysterious reappearance, but I couldn't explain it. Who cared? Barry Allen was back, and that's all that counted. But he brought with him a new dark side. He was crueler, more ruthless than I remembered. Worse, he was jealous of me. He accused me of usurping his legacy, replacing him in the hearts and minds of his public. I tried to reassure him. I told him we were a team. He spat in my face and left me to die. I survived, only to mire myself in pity and despair. While my former hero embarked on a spree of destruction, punishing Central City for forgetting him. To my horror, he'd become a monster. A horrible, twisted mirror image of the Flash I worshipped as a boy. Then I learned the chilly secret of Barry Allen. And I realized why. The nameplate, the book that read its property, says, Property of Eobard Thawne. He fooled us all, even himself. He wasn't Barry Allen. He's Eobard Thawne, one of Barry's oldest and deadliest foes. A criminal from the far future who's come back in time to wipe me from the paces of history. Seconds before Eobard Thawne's punch can even hit Wally, the fastest man alive ducks out of the way, barely missing the strike. By the way, what does it say about Thawne that the Super Friends and Superpowers show, and even the Justice League, had the likes of the Joker, Captain Cold, and Ra's al Ghul, some of the deadliest DC villains ever walked the planet. But Thawne, Eobard Thawne, he never showed up. Even Sinestro showed up to fight his opponent. But Thawne was never there. I'm reminded of a certain page of Green Lantern where Kyle Rayner describes Guy Gardner's attitude towards all of Hal's opponents. Tattooed Man, so many more are made fun of. But Sinestro, Guy never made fun of Sinestro. It tells you something about Thawne, doesn't it? Ducking under Eobard Thawne's punch, Wally goes in for a shoulder tackle, right into Thawne's stomach. Seconds ago, in hopes of shattering Thawne's masquerade, I confronted him with his trademark Reverse Flash costume and forced him to reveal his true colors. Damn it, Hal. He took the memory of Barry, the one thing in this world I most cherish, and preferred it beyond recognition. Grabbing him, Eobard Thawne does a judo throw, tossing Wally aside. Really quickly, Wally regains his footing, races over, tries to punch Thawne, but Thawne ducks and trips back Wally West. I want him to explain how he did it, how he managed to trick us all so perfectly. And I want him to that explanation to come from his lips, even if it's the last thing I'll ever hear. Thawne successfully socks Wally across his chin, and then delivers another blow, and then followed by another quick strike. You're dead. No, you're dead. Years ago, Uncle Barry killed you, snapped your neck in order to save an innocent woman's life. I saw it with my own eyes. How did you do it, you bastard? You pulled off your own resurrection in order to torment me? Wham! Thon slams Wally into the ground hard. I didn't. I didn't come back from the dead. And I didn't come for you. But, Wally doesn't have another chance to get another word as Thon stomps Wally's head. You're ahead of your time, kid. Or rather, you're ahead of mine. I've never met Barry Allen. At least, not yet. What? He doesn't say anything for a long time. He just begins to circle, like a mountain cat stalking his prey. He's got me cold. So much faster than me. He could rip my heart out before I could even stop him. Anxiously, I wait for him to pounce, but he doesn't. Instead, he asks a simple question. Ever been to the 25th century? I didn't think so. You wouldn't like it there, Wally. It's a cold and sterile place. Eobard Thawne, for a minute, flashes back to said world. True, technology's rise has signaled the downfall of crime and disaster. In many ways, my world is a magic kingdom free of problems or crises. By that same token, however, it's a world without heroes. By the year 2460, you and your contemporaries will have been long forgotten. Disappointed? Disbelieving. Keep talking. Still, there are those of us who are nostalgic for the heroic age of the 20th century. Those who wonder what it might have been to soar alongside the legendary Superman, match wits with the Batman, to run side by side the Flash. History tells of several men who bore that fabled name. To my mind, one led the pack, Barry Allen, who gave his life to save the world. As Son says this, he walks through another Flash museum, seeing the faded image of Barry Allen standing before him. He was a soul noble and pure. He, of all heroes, deserved in recompense for his sacrifice a long and prosperous life. The tragedy of his plight always moved me. I worshipped him, and no matter that he'd been dead for 500 years, I grieved for him. He was my hero. He was my friend. I knew everything about him. The centerpiece of my memorabilia was a rare addition. The primary source of what Flash lore had survived the ravages of time. The definitive biography of Barry Allen, penned in the waning days of the 20th century. Another flashback. Eobard Thawne standing in front of an empty bookcase, holding his collection close to his chest. I read it over and over again, studying Flash's life until it was as real as my own. I used to dream about meeting him. He says this as wearing Flash's costume. I used to dream I was him. He says this, and we see another flashback of Eobard Thawne using the plasmomorph technology of the 25th century, changing his face, hair, and body type to match Barry Allen. And that day, my Atiki rewarded me with a rare artifact. Both dreams came true. As Thawne says this, the flashback to the antique shop tells a different story. A man refuses to sell the item to Thawne, and Thawne kills the man. I alone recognized that broken, battered treadmill for what it was. The holy grail of Flash collectibles. The fabled time travel device of Barry Allen. Suddenly, my wildest fancy was within reach. I could journey to a time before Barry Allen's death, meet my hero, tell him just how much he meant to me, provided I could acquire the super speed abilities necessary to activate the treadmill. As Eobard Thawne monologues, Wally West tries to attack Thawne, but Thawne is too swift, too fast, as he grabs Wally West and Gerald throws him back into the ground. Even a man of my financial means and future check had difficulty replicating the electrical chemical bath that gave Barry Allen his powers. The treatment cost me my fortune. The pain saved years off my life. It was worth it. Who wouldn't give absolutely anything for the chance to become Barry's friend and partner? Wally struggles to get up. Who indeed? Exhilarated, I set the treadmill in motion. On a final whim, I grabbed the biography in the hopes of obtaining a cherished autograph. He looks on the book and then races onto the treadmill and dove headlong into the time stream. I confessed, I was unprepared for the rigors of temporal travel. The winds of time nearly tore me apart. Nevertheless, in a blinding bolt of energy, I successfully materialized in the wrong era. As he says this, Leopard Thawne lands in the alleyway, dropping behind his fried book, and sees a newspaper that says, Flash thwarts Mad Magician, Flash, Wally West, and benefit crowd. My head was reeling. The trip through time left me dazed and disoriented. But one thing cleared. I had failed. Centuries of neglect had affected the treadmill's calibration. Mistiming my arriving by now. Barry had been dead for so many years. It was too cruel. My fights had been for nothing. My presence in this era was pointless. Or was it? Finding a jacket, Leopard Thawne makes his way to the Flash Museum. Perhaps, I thought, perhaps some higher force has brought me here for a reason. Perhaps I could learn more. My visiting to Wonderland was the Flash Museum. From the moment I entered, I was enraptured. I'd become a child in the world's biggest, grandest toy box, surrounded by priceless mementos. Wally picks up a piece of shrapnel, throws it at Thawne, and in a flash, Thawne knocks it back. Don't do that again. It was a voyage of discovery in more ways than one. As I wandered, I began to realize the tremendous opportunity granted me. Clearly, my arrival in this time had been no accident. Clearly, I had been hand-chosen by fate to give Barry Allen a new lease on life, to amend the tragedy of his death, to take his place in history and continue his glorious career. Thawne says this, looking at the old Flash costume. Clearly. Wally West says, growling, angry. Filled with a newfound purpose, I began a careful study of the Flash's deeds and his friends, especially his enemies. As he hated them, so would I. The far end of the Rogues Gallery was reserved for Flash's greatest foe. He looks at each photo. Weather Wizard, Captain Cold, Trickster. All beautifully rendered like they were pages of a comic book. The mysterious Professor Zoom, the futuristic madman who had been a key player in Flash's twilight years. So evil was Zoom that he was the only life Flash had ever been forced to take. What was the source of Zoom's malice? Who was he? Like those belonging to most of Flash's nemesis, Zoom's true name had been lost to time. Not even Flash's biographer had recorded it. Thawne says this, looking at a statue of Barry Allen holding the reverse Flash by his outfit, neck broken, dead. Here in the 20th century, however, Thawne trembles. Sweat beads down his forehead as he looks at the plaque, and he reads the name to himself. His name. Professor Zoom. Eobard Thawne. No. No. It was common knowledge. No. No. No! Thawne screams helplessly as he sees his own dead body before him. It was possible, and yet it was there. My name, My fate as it would be a later in life. According to history, I, Eobard Thawne, was destined to become Professor Zoom. It was unfair, unjust, insane. I dedicated my life to the Flash's falling, only to have my faith betrayed, rewarded with certain death. Barry Allen, trembling, scared, confused, horrified, all these emotions and more rack Thawne's mind as he crawls through the museum. In that instant, a lifetime of adoration curdled to hatred. Someday, I would indeed meet Barry Allen, and Barry Allen would kill Eobard Thawne. Barry Allen. But not if Thawne ran. Barry Allen! Not if Thawne found a safe place to hide. Barry Allen! Not if Thawne ceased to exist. Between the agony of time travel and the shock of seeing my own murder, I was beyond confusion. But by the time I had stumbled out into the night, Eobard Thawne's very identity was forgotten. Through the hate, I looked up to see a familiar sight, and remembered who I was. I was Barry Allen. So that's what happened. You took refuge in a fantasy personality, supplementing your true self into a grand illusion. You genuinely believed you were Barry. Wally says this as he looks at Thawne. Green Lantern's ring said you were telling the truth, and in a sense you were. That's how you fooled us all, by fooling yourself. So why are you telling me all this? Isn't it obvious? Because we both wanted the same thing out of life, Barry. A chance to fill Barry Allen's boots. Think about it. We're a lot alike. You might even call us brothers. The word disgusts Wally, as Wally can only stand in silence, glaring his pupilless eyes at his enemy. Maybe, except for one thing, evil will out, Thawne. You overreached yourself. Your maniac zeal to establish yourself as the one and only Flash splintered to your demented facade. Wally says this as he races towards Thawne, delivering 3 quick strikes. Each one, Thawne dodges. You got your wish, God help us all. You were the Flash for a while, but the game is over. You have to return to your rightful era. You know that. On the contrary, I'm not going anywhere, Thawne says as he back fists Wally to the ground. The moment I return to the future, I'm one step closer to my final fate. But here, in 1993, I'm forever out of Barry Allen's murderous reach. So long as I stay in your time, I can never die. No. Blast. He's still 1 step ahead of me. No, 2 steps. Because he's overcovered my haste in the hole. He's gonna trumpet! While he watches on in fear as Eobard Thawne races towards the cosmic treadmill. I know your plan. The only way you could send me away is with this. But not if I destroy it first. Damn it, he's right. Without the treadmill, you can't! Wally says, getting to his feet. Demolish it now, and you won't be around the 25th century. And without it, you'll never have made the trip here. You're babbling. And you're changing history. No, that's nonsense. You're trying to confuse me with clever paradoxes. But I'm here, in the flesh. Nothing can change that. Okay, maybe you're right. Then go ahead. Total the damn thing. Destroy the holy grail of Flash collectibles. See if I care. The very idea of destroying Flash memorabilia irks Eobard Thawne. Or maybe he just realizes that Kid Flash is right. Fine, you win. Enjoy it while you can. He manages to deck Wally, grabbing him by his uniform, ready to deliver the final blow when the wall breaks open, unleashing Hal Jordan. Get away from him! And in charges the cavalry. Quickly, Hal Jordan creates a haze construct around Eobard Thawne. Imagine that. The mighty Green Lantern thinks he has me caged. Did you think I forget our previous battle, Hal? Or that your fabled power ring has no effect on yellow objects? Using the ring's weakness, Leopard Thon easily gets through the bars and delivers a sock into Hal Jordan's face. You wound me, old friend. Or better yet, I wound you. Then Thon creates his two mini tornadoes wielding his arms, spinning around and knocking also Johnny Quick off his feet. And look who else is here! Johnny Quick and Max Mercury, the also Rans. Stop wasting my time with your petty tricks. I'm faster than either of you. I'm faster than any of you. He continues the tornado, lifting himself into the air, and then, from that point, he races along the ground, delivering a punch into Max Mercury's face and a dive kick into Johnny Quick's head. Not today, you maniac. Maybe I can't directly touch you with my beam, but I can pin you down! Once again, Hal Jordan reminds us all of his cleverness as he uses his ring to pick up a whole slew of rocks and boulders and slams it onto Eobard Thawne in the attempt to hold him down. Now, people who mock the Yellow Weakness, what have we learned? That Hal Jordan has and always will figure a way around the Yellow Weakness. And the important part of being a superhero is to use both your powers and your mind to overcome your enemies. So thus, the very idea of somebody dressing up as a pencil to take out Hal Jordan is utterly stupid, and we should think before we mock a superhero's weakness. Very good! You're learning! Now write that down 100 times and be smart! Nice try. But haven't we gone through this before? Nothing holds a man who can vibrate through solid matter. However, try as he might with all the debris, Eobard Thawne uses his latent vibration abilities to go through the solid matter and disappear. Get away. Too late. I'm gone. But my work is far from finished. Sooner or later I'll be back to rub Wally West out of the picture. Just like a Jay Garrick. Hearing those words, Wally asks, Jay? What happened to Jay? In the hospital, Jay Garrick lays down with a broken leg. Broken in 6 places. I don't know if he'll ever run again. Oh, listen to my wife. She's a pessimist. Don't listen to her, Wally. She also underestimates the recuperative powers of a super speedster. Well, it may not heal perfectly, but it'll heal. Was I've been in the museum, although I clean Thought's clock. Joan rubs Jay's broken leg. She's a little bit miffed, but just glad her husband's alive. Easier said than done, Jay. I tried to fight as soon as I could, but Thawne still escaped us. My fault. I let my anger override my judgment. Anger. That's what it's all about, isn't it? You thought hated Barry, but now we know why. The question is, what are we going to do about it? We aren't going to do anything. This is my fight. I owe him for twisting the memories of Barry into my iris. Johnny Quick hands Wally West the book. That's right. I've forgotten. Professor Zoo killed Iris in cold blood, didn't he? According to history, and up until now, history was Thawne's best weapon, thanks to this biography. Wally West hands Johnny Quick the book. It was his knowledge of intimate personal details from Barry and Iris' life together that made Thawne so convincing. It's fascinating reading. Not all of it survived for time, of course, but the book still bears a copyright date, which proves it will be written just a few short years from now. Really? By who? I didn't see an author credit here. But sooner or later, Johnny Quick does manage to find an author credit. and does find out who wrote it. And the knowledge shocks him as his blue eyes open wide in utter disbelief at who could have possibly wrote this book. It was Mark Waid. No, I'm serious. Mark Waid actually wrote a book called The Biography of Barry Allen, The Life and Times of the Flash. It's a real book. It exists. It's a mix of prose and comic book panels that actually shows everything that Flash has done. It talks about Flash's life story, who Barry Allen is, and it acts like Iris West wrote it. So it's like Iris actually writes it. And personally, if I had one wish, it would be to find this book and have it, because that would be a cool little piece of memorabilia to have. That has been your Pointless Comic Book Trivia for today. I hope you enjoy. But, I know. I'm not sure what it means either. But it's the only good news to come out of this catastrophe. At the end, it's the only thing that might save Zune from the plain fury of vengeance. Jay, take care of this. It's important to me. Listen to me. I'm not going to say this twice. Thawne doesn't care about any of you. He's after Wally West. Now that he's crippled Jay and tried to trash Barry's rep, I'm the only other target left to him. That makes it personal. I have to beat Thawne one-on-one. Not just for my own sake, but for everyone who ever called himself the Flash. I admire your courage. Oh, very well. What can we do? You can stand at the ready. If I go down, don't let the city pay for my failure. Barry himself taught me that history can't be changed. Whatever happens, Thawne must eventually return to the 25th century with no memory of our battle in order to live out his destiny as the first Flash. Trust me, I'd give anything to end his career right now. But if he doesn't go back, all of history will change in ways we can't imagine, and not necessarily for the better. He's right. But that doesn't mean he can't return with your blood on his hands. Well, you're talking suicide. Physically, you're no match for Thawne's speed.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Park.
True, but I think faster than him. That might make all the difference. Everything is in the mind. Isn't that what you preach, Max? I told you that fear is redoubling your own speed. Fear of replacing Barry Allen by becoming his equal. If you don't face that fear before draws you to combat, you'll have a chance of prayer survival.
My guest today is Mayor Harold Lambert. Mr. Lambert, the Renegade Flash continues to hold both Keystone and Central Cities in the grip of terror. What's being done about the situation?
Frankly, Miss Park, we are counting on Wally West for help. So what does you tell me? After all, Wally West is your friend.
I have talked to him, that's true. He's doing his best. But he may not even be able to stop this madman alone.
To the horror of the viewing audience, and everybody watching that TV at the moment, a hand phases through the mayor's chest, stopping his heart, killing him instantly. And who did it? Of course, Thawne. Linda gasped in horror. Isn't that the truth? Please, don't be fooled by the change in costume colors. I am indeed the... what was he called me? Renegade Flash, you seek. No longer should Central City blame its grip of terror on a long-dead hero. Thawne removes his cowl, showing his face. Know now and forever that Eobard Thawne, Professor Zoom, is your true champion of injustice. Then Thawne grabs Linda and holds her to his chest, and above her head he starts vibrating his fingers. Years ago, Eobard Thawne had cornered Iris Allen, in a small room at a costume party. And, vibrating his hand at super speed, it faced it through her skull. killing her in an instant. In reality, her spirit does return to her body back in the future, as he was saved. Linda has no chance. She was born in this era. She lived in this era. She dies here. She dies for good. Here! Take a good look at the face that was become the Flash's worst nightmare! And speaking of the Scarlet Speedster, where is that coward hiding out? Perhaps you have some idea, Linda? His hand vibrates faster and faster. Surely you don't mind if I pick your brain? Good God, he's going to kill her. We gotta move. Wally, let's leave the studio. Wally has no answer. For the moment that monster, that murderer, grabbed Linda Park, he was gone. Racing out the door and moving at speeds that he never thought he could. Overseas, through the streets, leaving behind nothing but the rush of wind and a red blur. No, not even a red blur. Just a rush of wind, as if he moved faster than the speed of light itself. Time seems to slow down for the world as Wally West runs. For Linda, every second ticks away, horrifyingly slow. As Thawne lowers his fingers towards her head, her light flashes through her eyes as she hopes and prays that she could get out of this, but she thinks that there's no way she could be saved. Slowly, the golden fingers near her head, ready to pulse right through her skull. A tear runs down her cheek as she is about to embrace death. But in an instant, she is saved as somebody pulls her out of Thawne's grip and races to the other side. Linda knows those colors all too well. His warmth. Her savior, Wally West. By the way, you can either play Eye of the Storm for that moment, or Running. Personally, I like using Running as one of Wally's themes, as well as Eye of the Storm. Both songs are pretty damn awesome. Well, it's about time, Thawne says as he pulls out his cowl. I thought you'd never get here. Relieved, Linda lets go of Wally's arm as Wally proceeds to do battle. And so begins the final face-off. The two Flashes races at each other, fists drawn, and they begin to lay blows. All around me, I hear crackling noises. It takes a moment to place them. They're the sounds of Thawne's fists breaking the sound barrier. He hits like a jackhammer. For the moment, Thawne has the upper hand, delivering blow after blow after blow against Wally's body. A punch, a hook, a knee, a kick, and a back fist, and an elbow all strike Wally in seconds. You'll excuse the cliche, loved one in danger. I can't even think about tagging him back. By the time I swing, he's long gone. He moves so fast he's invisible. He punches are blurs of yellow followed by explosions of red. But I had to draw you out. Somewhere inside, I start to feel bone against bone. No Green Lanterns, no Max Mercurys. This time, just you and me. Outside, I'm mercifully numb. Soon, Wally starts bleeding from the mouth. Cut lip drips blood across his chin. Every breath is like a knife in the ribs. Thawne grabs Wally by the head and slams it onto the ground. I feel like a straw in a hurricane. For a long moment, I'm ready to throw in a towel. And then he goes and says something stupid. Once you're out of the way, I really will make this city forget Barry Allen. From now on, when they remember the Flash, they'll remember me. You still have a problem with that? Then follow me, kid. We have not begun to fight. Thawne says this as he phases through the wall, leaving behind Wally trembling, struggling to rise up.
Oh God! Wally! Wally! Wally, stay down. The ambulance is coming for the mayor. Let them look at you.
The ringing slowly stops, and he can hear Linda's pleas. Slowly, Wally West gets right back up and holds the love of his life in his arms. No time. That thought you said you had? That I might not be able to stop him on my own? He grabs Linda and pulls her into a deep kiss, holding it there for ages, letting him feel her. Breaking the kiss and pushing her aside, Wally begins to walk away. Put it out of your head, Wally says with all the confidence he can muster, and races off towards the rogue speedster. Racing across the water, he sees Thawne up ahead. And quickly, he manages to catch up. Max was right. He was right all along. Rage starts crossing Wally's features. Anger, determination, a desire to be better than this monster that was in front of him. I am afraid. Again, eye of the storm, please. I am the eye of the storm. He races and catches up with reverse flash. I am afraid of replacing Barry. But I'm more afraid of letting this bastard do it! And with that, Wally West catches up with reverse flash right behind him and strikes with the power of a thunderbolt right upside the back of Thawne's head, causing Thawne to go scurrying across the ground, rolling and tumbling forwards. I love this fight. I really do. I mean, I just love it. When I was 10, the lightning changed my life. In just 1 second, it gave me the chance I needed to turn my world around. The two flashes run along side by side. Two of the world's fastest runners in steep competition. At some points, they grab weapons to throw at each other, such as a caught replica of Jay's old helmet. Since Barry's death, my speed had waxed and waned. I never thought the electric power that sparked it could ever be recaptured. I was wrong. The power is within me. It always was. Wally ducks under reverse flash's punch and delivers one of his own, striking hard. And now that I need it, it's back to stay. At last, we're evenly matched. The two speedsters grapple each other's arms as they run at the same speed. And for the first time in a long time, Thawne's face is etched with fear as he stares at this punk that he dismissed. This child he once considered nothing. The sidekick has finally become his own. And that thought scares him. And the look of surprise on Thawne's face is priceless. He wasn't prepared for a fair fight. Which doesn't mean I can claim an easy victory. The two speedsters race outside of the Flash Museum, striking, punching, blow after blow, each trying to gain the upper hand of each other. He swings, I duck, and forth it goes. We're locked in a stalemate. Eobard Thawne races up alongside Barry's statue, smashes it with a foot, sending shrapnel and debris right at Wally. Wally quickly dodges, moving faster than ever, moving out of the way of each shot. It's no longer a conquest about speed, its endurance. Grabbing Flask's logo, he throws it like a discus at Wally. Wally grabs it. Concentration. Thawne grabs Barry's broken leg and look. However, the storm that had just started causes a puddle, which forces Wally to slip. And look. No! Damn! Lost my footing. Quick, get back before... Thawne uses his opportunity to slam the broken statue leg into Wally's stomach. Ugh! I'll give you this, West. You won one hell of a race. Thawne then vibrates his hands fast. The same technique he was planning on using to kill Linda. But now, it's over. Is it? I'm hurting. But so is Thawne. I can still win. All I need is a chance to get back up. Wally says this, though he's hurting, struggling to get back onto his feet amidst the storm. But Thawne's coming right at me. Without that chance, I'm going to die. You are his protege. Everything that remains of him is in you. Once you're dead, he really is gone. Forever. Second. Say goodbye, Flash. Say goodbye to Barry Allen. In between the two speedsters, a crack of lightning strikes. And for a brief second, for that one instant of a second, Wally could have sworn the lightning was red instead of white. And he thought he might have seen an old friend saving him at the last second. Staring up into the heavens, Wally only has one thing to say. Thank you. Getting back up, Wally delivers a punch into Thawne's face, followed by a small uppercut into the chin. Stop! This close to the finish line? Forget it! Wally delivers a right cross into Thawne, sending Thawne flying back. Please, no more. You can't do this to me. Oh yeah? Wally grabs Earbar Thawne by the chest, pulling him to his face. Not to me. I'm Barry Allen. Is that so? A sneer smatters across Wally West's face. Mister, I knew Barry Allen. And believe me, you're no Barry Allen! And with one powerful back fist, he slams it against Thawne's face, knocking Thawne to the ground. And once again, Thawne looks horrified. You're a pathetic little man who's finally getting what he deserves. Trembling, Reverse Flash backs up. How does it feel, Thawne? No more. How does it feel to become a victim of your own obsession? Welcome to Catharsis Theater. You shook me right down to the ground, you rat bag. And you think this hurts? Swat! Wally West backhands Thawne. Please. It's not a fraction of the pain you put me through. Finish me off. Kill you. Put you out of my misery. You don't know what a tempting offer that is. Right here, right now? No way. Why let you off so easy? Wally races towards the treadmill and sets up the timer. After all, wasn't it you that reminded me that all history is at my disposal, thanks to the treadmill? Maybe I'll use it to give you a taste of your own cruelty. Maybe I'll visit you when you were a young man and terrorize you the way you terrorized me. Or maybe I'll just kill you in your crib. The treadmill starts up. Thawne watches as Wally West disappears. No! No! Thon races towards the treadmill, running alongside it, and then disappearing into the time stream. No! Please. Please. No! In the corner of the Flash Museum, Wally watches as his plan succeeds. Sucker! Nicely done. You didn't actually time travel, I take it. No, frankly, I'm not sure I'm up to it. But I was able to hop off the treadmill so quickly that even Thawne couldn't see me hide. I tricked him. I set the time controls for the year 2460 and prodded his own terror into feeling his trip home. So that's it. Thawne can't play us anymore? Not us, no. We're safe. He won't even recall having been here. How can you be so sure? Because the space-time continuum isn't collapsing around us. See, right about now, relatively speaking, Thawne is rematerializing in his own era. Like before, the traumatic time trip probably yaddled the living hell out of him. If anything's going to blank his memory, it'll be that. Thawne awakes, back in the 25th century, nude, his costume burnt. Even if he carries a reminder of his journey right in the palm of his hand, it won't mean anything. We already know that the man who will eventually become the Reverse Flash isn't destined to remember his fight with Wally West. Ironically enough, until the day he dies, Thawne will believe his first and only enemy was Barry Allen. The two superheroes look at Barry's photo, Hal Jordan and Wally West. I used to say he was the greatest hero I ever known. But that was before I saw a man put his life on the line, just to preserve his legend. It was a debt of honor. Their market paid in full. Come on, let's go home. It took a while, epilogue, but the storm finally lifted. And I don't know when I've more seeds the dawn of a new day. Linda takes Wally by the hand and walks him along the road. Linda asks about Jay. He's healing, but he'll be bedridden for a while still. I hear he's handling convalescence better than I would. Yesterday he read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica before lunch. Hal's gone to see after his girlfriend, Carol. Johnny went back to his corporation, and Max rides to win. You know what? Not a single one of them calls me Junior anymore. It took me a long, long time. Linda then shows Wally a present. The Flash Museum, still under construction, now has 2 statues in front of it. One of Barry Allen, holding his hand out, as if he was giving his blessing, as if he was showing pride. And the other statue, the one that's racing ahead of him towards the future, the statue of Wally West. But I finally come into my own. The truth is, no one's more disappointed than I am over the reality of my uncle's return. But that disappointment is tempered with a much-needed sense of closure. The ghost of Barry Allen, the one I kept alive all these years, is finally at rest. He no longer dominates my life, but he'll always watch over me. I can't explain it, but I'll know it every time I see that lightning crack across the sky. Wally and Linda then walk away towards the bridge, hand in hand. Then there's the biography. I can't look at it without hearing Thawne's whimpers ringing in my ears. He begged me to kill him, and I'll admit, thinking about what he did to Aunt Iris made an attractive offer. I always believed she died at his hands, until I saw this. Now I know she's out there, somewhere, and someday soon she'll return to us. Wally takes a good look at the book and reads himself the title and the author. The Life Story of the Flash by Iris Allen. Keystone Press, 1997. Like I told Johnny, not much of it survived intact. Max scanned what little there is left of it. Later chapters for a clue of Iris's fate. Found nothing. He said there were things about Wally West, though. Things I could read about. If I wanted to. Wally takes one good look at the biography, lifts it up, and throws it into the water. Forget it. If there's an end to my story, I don't want to know about it. History is something captured and known by the pages of a book. But the future belongs to me. You know, this needs to be done right. Can we have a lightning bolt? Thank you. And now, can we have a scene of Wally West running through the streets, full of Flash garb, running on by, being the hero that he is, helping people? My name is Wally West, and I'm the Flash. I'm the fastest man alive. The end of the novel Return of Barry Allen. And like I want to say this. This is probably my favorite Flash story. And I've read a few. This is probably my favorite arc of Flash ever. And rereading it for, admittedly, the third time, it's only gotten better over time. If I had problems with it, I can't really think of it. Nor do I want to. The themes of this story, of legacy, of trying to live up to somebody's ideals, are universal. It's the reason why, of all the Flash stories, I would want this to be adapted into a cartoon of the DC animated movies. It's this story I would love to see adapted into other media. Because, quite frankly, it shows why Wally is a great hero and a great character. While Barry needed motivation to be put into him, oh, my mom died. Wally didn't. He had the motivation right there. I keep finding it interesting that I love Barry Allen. I grew up with him, so Barry was my Flash, but thinking about it, all the traits I love about Barry were traits about Wally. And every time I think about the things I love about Wally, his story always appeals to me the most. I mean, who hasn't always felt like you have something to live up to? You have an ideal to approach. Somebody does something great, or somebody you care about, or somebody you idolize does something better, and you want to put yourself through it. You want to make yourself live up to those ideals, but you're always afraid. You're always afraid of surpassing that person, because when you do, that person's ideals are left behind. I love how the story approaches all that. How it identifies and helps establish who Wally is. A young man who fell into a legacy and strove to become his own. He will never forget the lessons that were given to him by the other speedsters. But he strives to become his own identity. Because he is the Flash. The fastest man alive. And don't worry, I'll do more Nightmare Night and Nick's later. But I do have a few more Flash stories I can pull out. Maybe some featuring Barry Allen this time. Still, see you later. My gosh. I almost feel like that was the end of this. I could just ignore the rest of Nightmare Night and Nick's because, let's face it, you guys were not listening to the Nightmare Night stuff, were you? Just admit it. You guys sat here throughout all the Barry Allen stuff and enjoyed it.